Welcome to episode number 257 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for all of you marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. You can find us online by searching Beyond Social Media Show in your favorite search engine. We are recording live on YouTube on February 2, 2019. A ton of things to talk about this week, including earned Super Bowl media, Super Bowl 53 commercials, excessive packaging, frozen pants, LinkedIn interest targeting, dearly departed Google services, Apple's Power Play, Adidas Black History Month fail, the invisible generation, complicated captchas, and much, much more. BL kicks it off with the best as she does every week. What was the best story of the week, BL?
Well, there were a couple that could vie for it, but since we're talking about the Super Bowl, brands are getting smart. They're getting earned media before the Super Bowl. And in the past, that came from releasing their commercials early. But this year, what they're doing is they're holding back on releasing the ad content. They're doing previews of the ad content, and they're putting that out days before the game. So online viewing of the Super Bowl related advertising content and commercials is now at its highest level in 5 years, mostly from this unpaid earned media exposure. Some 56 brands have released 108 pieces of Super Bowl ad creative, and 110 million online views came to that. Over 60 million from YouTube earned media views, according to iSpot TV. That iSpot TV says when it comes to TV viewing, unpaid earned media exposure on news programming and other related TV content has amassed 32.4 million TV ad impressions. So the previews are getting earned media by being shown in other places. And big pre-Super Bowl spenders so far are Kia Motors at 2.6 million, Avocados from Mexico, 398,490, and Burger King at $133,722 to show us what they're gonna do, but not what they're doing. Fun.
Yeah, they're also sharing what they're doing because they released their commercials on YouTube before the Super Bowl. They've been doing this
Some
for
have, some
years.
haven't.
They've done this for years, and I put together a list of 50 plus, I think like 59 Super Bowl commercials, a playlist of them on. I'll put a link in the show notes for it. So it's interesting. This is the debutante's ball of advertising, right? The Super Bowl. It's where advertising agencies get to show off their most creative work and get their clients to play millions for one spot that sometimes is questionable, but there you go. So I like to get my viewing of Super Bowl commercials out before the game because mostly I can't enjoy the commercials during the game because everybody talks during the commercials. So yeah, as an advertising aficionado, I'd rather watch it without people talking. So a couple of commercials that caught my eye. I watched pretty much all of them. The Hyundai USA has a very clever ad, which starts with an elevator that's run by Jason Bateman, and he is going down floors, and the floors stop at unappealing experiences. So one is a root canal. It opens up and the guy steps out and he's going to get a root canal. Another one stops at jury duty and the doors open up and there's some really mean looking dude waiting to be tried, and a guy steps off to go to his jury duty. Another one opens up and it's the middle seat of an airplane. So all these horrible experiences. He gets to the car shopping floor, and a couple doing their shopping pull out their phone when the doors open up and say, "Nah, we're good. We've already done our shopping on Hyundai's app." And Bateman says, "Going up." But that ad, it occurs to me that ad is countering Carvana's ads where the whole experience is through an app, and so that struck me. But it's a clever ad. Another one is Michelob Ultra. So this features Zoe Kravitz with two microphones in front of her, and behind her is a natural landscape. And it is clever. The ad is very clever sound design. So the sound alternates between left and right speakers as she speaks into the microphone, and it's very natural sounding. It sounds of a bottle opening, of course, and it is organic sounds emphasizing organic light lager, which is what Michelob is promoting themselves on. It's probably best experienced with headphones. So again, the cleverness will probably be lost on the Super Bowl audiences who are watching while everybody's talking. So that's probably not going to pull off during the game.
Stella, that's why all this pregame stuff is happening. People are watching.
Yep. Stella Artois has a very clever ad. They cue theme music from the beginning from Sex and the City, and Sarah Jessica Parker strolls into a restaurant in her Sex and the City role. The waiter asks if she wants her usual Cosmopolitan. She says, nope, tonight I'll have a Stella Artois, and it shocks everybody in the restaurant. Chaos ensues. The band stops playing. Waiter drops the plates, and then Jeff Bridges wanders in wearing his Big Lebowski sweater, moseys up to the bar. The waiter asks if he wants a White Russian, and for all of you people who haven't watched The Big Lebowski
10 times or so,
shame on you. But 2, he is his character, Jeff Bridges' character in The Big Lebowski, is always drinking a White Russian. So there you go. He says, no, give me a Stella Artois. And chaos ensues again. The tagline for the commercial is change up the usual. And Jeep, one of my favorite brands because I used to own a Jeep, has One Republic doing a rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. There's images of American greatness and splendor throughout the years. Jeeps during World War II, Marilyn Monroe stepping out from a Jeep, the wide open American landscapes, even a shot of 2 Wrangler owners giving themselves the Jeep wave to one another. And it works because Wrangler really represents freedom. It's wide open. You do use it for off-roading. It is part and parcel of our military experience during World War II and bravery because of that military connection. And the tagline for that is more than just words. One last thing on the Super Bowl ads, I noticed a trend among the ads on YouTube is a lot of them are extending the YouTube ad with a still image in 15 seconds, basically, to give viewers time to interact with the end cards at the end of the video. So I haven't seen that before. That's a very clever tactic to get people to view more of your stuff.
So I'm going to be a wet blanket here, but I feel like all of this gazillions of dollars in spending could solve world hunger for a year.
Well, okay.
It's an outrageous.
Everybody says that though, BL. I mean,
you know
not going to happen.
That's because it's true. Yeah, the ads are fun, they're great, but in these times, isn't there something else we should be thinking about? Anyway, talking about other things we should be thinking about. Yes, I know you're a big football fan and all this is really important for you, but there are other things. So there is a wonderful Reddit subreddit that is calling out egregious packaging. And I got this from a Mashable story with Heather Dockeray, and a massive amount of packaging comes with the smallest things. And so these things contribute hugely to global waste. And so what's happening on this subreddit is that people share pictures they've received of small things drowning in paper or plastic. And I've many times shamed Fresh Direct, which would sometimes send one container, a big box with one container of yogurt in it. But now they've switched to reusable plastic bags, and many other companies are huge offenders. So there's a picture here, one of my very favorite companies, which is Chewy.com. And there's a picture of one little bottle of a dog prescription in a big box with plastic wrap all around it and cardboard. And, there are other things that are, there's one thing where there's a small thing in the box and 30 yards of plastic around it. So this is a great way of calling out a practice that probably won't change for a long time, but ought to.
All right. So there you go. I don't have a transition.
No, but
we all just got through the polar vortex. It was pretty brutal this time.
Oh my God, wasn't it though?
but really only because we haven't experienced cold snaps like that with any frequency in a long, long time. It used to be back when I was a kid, man, it was always, I mean, every winter there was an extended period of really, really cold weather, sub-zero weather, and it was frequent and we got used to it. So
This is global warming in
it
action.
is.
Yeah.
It is. But there's a interesting aspect of this in Minneapolis. Time Magazine's Tara Law writes about hashtag frozen pants, which began trending in Minnesota this week thanks to Tom Grotting, who is the co-owner of a digital equipment company called Digital Pictures. He came up with an idea to freeze the pants during another Arctic blast about 6 years ago. So he freeze jeans and put them outside in his yard as kind of sculptures. The temperatures need to get down to at least 0 degrees for the pants to stay in place. This week, the wind chill in Minneapolis went down to 55 degrees below.
Oh my God.
On Wednesday, and the air temperature was as low as 29 degrees below. The hashtag frozen pants started to pop up on Facebook and Twitter, and as his neighbors and other Minnesotans started creating their own frozen pants art. So we'll put a link to the story as well as an example from an ABC tweet of somebody tossing their frozen pants up in the air in slow motion as it tumbles and falls perfectly in place in the snow, standing up. It's beautiful.
That's hilarious. Well, I mean, you couldn't leave your frozen pants outside New York because someone would take them.
There you go.
You know? So does that bring us to bad news?
It does not. I've got another good one. This is
Okay.
LinkedIn has added interest targeting to its ad platform. So in addition to the demographics and firmographics and all the professional data that they have of LinkedIn users, now you can target people based on interests. So member interests may be based on or on and inferred from member actions, LinkedIn member actions, and engagement with the specific content on LinkedIn. Their top categories include arts and entertainment, business and management, career and employment, finance and economy, marketing and advertising, sales and retail, science and environment, society and culture, technology, politics, and law. And then subcategories to give you an idea of marketing and advertising include market research, marketing and advertising strategies, B2B and B2C marketing, which doesn't make a lot of sense to include those in the same subcategory to me, but there you go. Tools and technologies, content production, brand management, but a really good addition to LinkedIn's advertising platform. They are improving, so it's good to see. They're kind of the second cousin to Facebook, but they're getting better, and the targeting is getting better.
That's worth taking a look at, that's for sure. So we all got an email today saying that Google Plus is going away, in some cases as soon as next week, but definitely by April. Personal profiles, corporate ones are a whole nother thing. But somebody has published Killed by Google. And Scott Scowcroft sent this to me, and Google's killing off Google Plus, which I loved and I learned a lot from, but it has a history of starting services, letting them get to millions of users, and then killing them. And that's what happened to scores of. And this is a list of their obituaries, including the dates when they started and the dates when they were killed. So among the recent ones, Google URL shortener, that was really a great one. Google Fusion tables, Chromecast audio, Google News and Weather. Go figure why they stopped that one. And the site says Killed by Google is a free and open source list of dead Google products, services, and devices. It serves to be a tribute and memorial of beloved products and services killed by Google. So you can add to it if you can remember any that they missed. And, it's quite an enormous list. And, since I like to try everything new, I've tried an awful lot of these and then sometimes gotten into them. And just when you get to where, wow, I really like this tool and you're using it all the time, boom, Google says you can't have it anymore.
Yeah, the absolutely worst one that they killed off was Google Reader, the RSS reader.
Terrible.
Insane. It was fantastic, and a lot of people used it, and they could have still collected a lot of information from the service. So I don't really get why they killed it off, but that's the worst of them. Another one is Feed Reader or Feed Blitz, like Feed Reader.
Yeah, that was a great one.
But it's still around. But they have kind of hinted that they're going to kill it off. So everybody's like,
why use it?
Can I still
Exactly.
use it? I don't know.
Well, why take that chance, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, speaking of killing things off, Apple has been in the news for killing things recently. A lot of people covered this, including The Verge. Zachary Mack has an article about it. So Apple cut off access to first Facebook and then Google's iOS development apps. So in order to in order to create an app and go get into the Apple App Store, you need to go through Apple to do it. Obviously, Facebook was apparently paying people $20 to use a VPN app. So VPN is a virtual private network. It's designed to run all of your traffic through encrypted servers, and it's specifically an app for privacy. So Facebook apparently gave their developer certificate to users so they could monitor their traffic. Everything was apparently up front. They're paying people, and the people apparently knew that they were being paid to get their data. But this is a violation of Apple's terms of service for their developer certificates. And so Facebook cut off access for the app, as well as cutting off access to Facebook's internal developer app. So that and the internal
Facebook cut that off, or Apple cut that off?
Apple cut off Facebook's
That's
internal developer apps and the internal company apps. So they build apps that are specifically just for employees to use, like, what's on the menu for lunch, a bunch of different things. But they cut it off. They did the same for Google. So one thing, Facebook obviously and apparently Google have implemented some really dodgy policies in trying to get people's data. But two, is this way too much power for Apple to have? I mean, basically, they shut down operations at Facebook and Google. It seems like a really, really big power play, and it's if you can shut down productivity in a company as big as Facebook and Google, that's pretty powerful.
It's pretty scary. You're right about that. So this is definitely the gaffe of the year, and I bet it will stay the worst of the year, even though this is only the beginning of February. This is Black History Month, and Adidas has chosen to celebrate Black History Month with an all-white shoe. So this is from an article in Complex by Mike DiStefano, and after the social media backlash that you can just imagine, Adidas pulled its all-white shoe. So the design, which it dubbed Celebrating Black Culture, is part of the Ultra Boost collection. And it has this cream white upper that's devoid of any of the usual colors or patterns seen, representing Black History Month releases. The only details it had were red, black, and purple eyelets, which you really can't see when the laces are tied. And the main feature was a CBC insole graphic that featured an old school basketball, and it said "Celebrating Black Culture." Cool. So now you can step on it as you walk in your all white shoes. So that is kind of, ridiculous. And so Adidas had to remove it, and they made the statement, Adidas released a new collection in celebration of Black History Month featuring designs inspired by the Harlem Renaissance. It includes footwear and apparel across a variety of categories. Toward the latter stages of the design process, we added a running shoe to the collection that we later felt did not reflect the spirit or philosophy of how Adidas believes we should recognize and honor Black History Month. After careful consideration, we've decided to withdraw the product from the collection. Of course, you can still buy the shoes in a whole bunch of places, and guess what? I bet they're going to be a collector's item for white nationalists. So somebody who calls himself LR, he tweeted, "Laughing my ass off, Black History Month with an all-white shoe." What were they thinking?
Yeah, kind of tone deaf.
To say the least. Tone deaf and colorblind.
Yeah, right. Wow. So last week I ranted about generations. I'm gonna do the again this week.
Not done. He's not done with the
Not
generation
done with
thing.
the generation rant. Yeah. So this is Guacamole, Erica Diaz's article on basically CBS News ran a segment about millennials titled "Are Millennials the Burnout Generation?" And the accompanying graphic listed the living generations on it: the silent generation, baby boomers, millennials, and quote unquote post millennials. So notice anything in that listing?
No more Generation X, Y, or
Generation
Z.
X, absent, not even mentioned,
What about
completely
Y
left
and
out.
Z? They're not there either.
Well, that's what the post millennials are supposed to be, but
Okay.
completely left out Generation X. The graphic was most likely done by a millennial. Didn't notice the big gap in age range between boomers and millennials. So Brad King tweeted the screen capture of the CVS segment and with a comment, "The most Gen X thing ever," completely ignored. Marissa S. replied to him with a gif of Molly Ringwald from 16 Candles, which had the caption, "He doesn't even know I exist." Actor Johnny Galecki, he's known for playing Leonard Hofstadter on The Big Bang Theory and David Healy and Roseanne, posted a screenshot on Instagram of Urban Health NP's tweet, which read, "Gen X was apparently out of the building during roll call, probably too busy taking care of an elderly parent while sending an Uber to an unemployed millennial child and arguing with a post-millennial about why the Wi-Fi is so slow." Galecki's comment was, "You forgot one, CBS. Gen X, question mark. You may remember us as the inventors of Harry Potter, podcasts, and irony. You would wonder, and you wonder why we have abandonment issues. Just remember, for every boomer who dislikes a millennial, there's a generation in between that dislikes you both." Hashtag ironic.
Except they didn't invent podcasts. But,
yeah, we did.
you know,
Yeah, we did.
yeah, we did, not them.
No. Gen X did.
All right,
Yeah.
I could argue with you about how long this has been going on for.
We'll put it in the next episode.
Okay, so I have here, no, I know you're wrong. I have here why captchas are getting so complicated from Josh, I don't know how to say his last name, Zizia, at The Verge. And certainly you've noticed that like proving you're a human is getting harder all the time. You know, we used to just check I'm not a robot, but that those things are called captchas because they stand for completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. Got that? So basically, the captchas have gotten more complicated in the last decade because they have to stay ahead of the bots and the optical character recognition programs. So back in 2014, Google pitted one of its learning algorithms, machine learning algorithms, against humans to solve the most distorted text captchas, the ones that just make you crazy. And the computer got the test right 99.8% of the time, but humans got a mere 33%. So the problem with many of these tests isn't that bots are so smart, it's that humans are too stupid, according to Jason Polakis, who's a computer science professor at the University of Illinois in Chicago. So recently there have been efforts to develop game-like captchas, which are tests that make you rotate objects to certain angles or move puzzle pieces into position. And I've seen one or two of those, and instructions are given not in text but in symbols or implied by the context of the game. And then the hope is that humans would understand the puzzle logic, but computers lacking clear instructions would be stumped. Other researchers have tried to exploit the fact that consumers, this one's creepy, that consumers have bodies using device cameras or augmented reality for interactive proof of humanity. So CAPTCHA tests are probably going to persist in this world. And Amazon received a patent in 2017 for a scheme that involves optical illusions and logic puzzles humans have great difficulty in deciphering. And this one's called Turing Test via Failure. And the only way you can pass it is to get the answer wrong.
Yeah, well, it's not that humans are stupid, it's that CAPTCHA's stupid.
Captcha's
Especially,
ridiculous.
especially with the wavy letters that you're
Don't
supposed
you
to,
hate those?
it's idiotic. All
Yeah,
right.
well, apparently machines can do them and we can't. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like, okay, there's got to be this information somewhere else, and I'm gone.
Yeah. So is that on to shiny new stuff then?
It is, Dave.
All
On to
right.
shiny new stuff.
So
Go ahead.
I have we've talked about Uber Suggest before on the podcast. Mentioned it as a cool, as a shiny new thing, and as in casual conversation. So I'm mentioning it again because they've got an upgrade. It's Uber Suggest 3.0, and now before you just had keyword data. It has added domain level analysis. So now you can put in a domain name into Uber Suggest, and it will give it it has a traffic analyzer that is broken down into three main sections: overview, top pages, and keywords. Among them, so top, you can see the top SEO pages, the top pages for that particular domain that are ranking for search. You can see the top traffic pages of that domain that are getting the most traffic from search. And then you can see the top keywords associated with that domain or that URL. So you can see how that page is getting traffic from search based on keywords. It's got keyword-based SERP analysis as well, so you can put in a keyword and then see the search engine results from that are result from that query, and it's all free. So
Oh, that's great.
very nice upgrade.
Sounds comparable to SEMrush, is it?
It is. It doesn't. I think it's kind of a competitor because it's free. It doesn't have nearly the numerous
Yeah.
features that SEMrush has. It's SEMrush, for my money, is still worth paying for. But if you need just keyword data and some site analysis, this is great.
Well, that's a great tool. I mean, you got me addicted to SEMrush, so nothing can come close as far as I'm concerned. But this one sounds like, really worth looking at. Thanks.
Sure. So next, we are going to do one of our experiments here, trying to change things up for 2019, and conduct a mini case study. And so I'm going to share my screen now with our audio listeners. You might want to go to the show page at beyondsocialmediashow.com/257 for the video segment of this. But let me share my screen without further ado. So first of all, I kind of like to throw spaghetti against the wall and experiment with some things, and this is the result of one of my experiments. I previously owned a Jeep. I loved my Jeep, and when I first bought my Jeep, I noticed that other Jeep owners, Jeep Wrangler owners, would be waving to me all the time. There's different types of waves. You can do two fingers on the steering wheel, four-fingered wave, a wave off the top with the top down, a wave out the side of the window. But everybody was waving it for me. I thought it was a fascinating phenomenon. In fact, there was this one guy who every time I went to work, this yellow Jeep owner, I'd wave to him and he wouldn't wave back, and it got me really angry. And so I was fascinated with my reaction to that and why this was happening. So I decided to do a video explaining the Jeep wave. My girlfriend shot this, and I just talked about it and everything. I uploaded it on June 12, 2011, and you can see it's 2 minutes and 39 seconds long. It's got 86,000, nearly 87,000 views right now. My description is not. I have a couple of lines of description, but it's not taking up all of the description. But we got a lot of comments on it. So with people come and comment, and here's somebody saying about the yellow Jeep owner, maybe he waved to you first before you figured out the wave thing, and you're actually the jerk for not waving back at him and he's angry at you. So it's kind of funny. People say, I love my Jeep. I do it. I wave all the time. And this person's, yeah, I get the yellow Jeep owner should get with the program. I get so irritated when other Jeep owners don't wave. So it goes on and on. I interact with this because it's fun to read their comments, but also to try and keep the engagement with the video up, because that's a signal for visibility on YouTube. So I just want to go through this and show you some of the some of the analytics of how this worked out. So I uploaded on June 11th. This is my YouTube analytics. And over time, my watch time, which is a big thing on YouTube now, is 103,000, nearly 104,000. Average view duration is 118, and it's a 2-minute and 37-second video. So maybe I need to look at what I could do differently if I wanted to expand on this and do another Jeep video, that I could learn to shorten that up so that
still enough time. Given the small amount of time that most people watch videos, that's really a lot.
Yeah, it is actually. 86,000, as I mentioned, a lot of views. It shows you their likes and dislikes. So 284 likes versus 29 dislikes. So that like to dislike ratio is a ranking factor. So that's very good. A lot of comments, a lot of shares, 322 shares. People are putting in video playlists. This gender thing, it says 100% male. That's not even true. I know from the comments that a lot of the people who are commenting are women. So I don't know why that's screwed up, but that's not true. Playback locations. Most people watch it on the YouTube watch page that I showed you before, the page on YouTube in which you watch it. There's some embedded videos. There are people watching it from. And then my traffic sources. So external is 49%, YouTube search is 27%, and then directed and unknown is 11%. So let's take a look at that. Here is the traffic sources, and it breaks it down on the traffic sources pages by external YouTube search. I got suggested videos, 6.5, let's see, 6.3% of the views came from suggested videos. So the video showing up alongside other related videos. And then YouTube search is 2.3%. So it's showing up in, I mean, Google search is 2.3% showing up in the Google search results, and YouTube search is 25%. And then external, actually, this is combined. External is actually a lot of YouTube or a lot of Google search as well. And so we'll take a look at that next year. And so this is external, and as you go through, then you can see Google search makes up a lot of that. So I don't know why they separate, YouTube separates those two, but Google search is 23,000 views from Google search. So it's ranking. It used to rank top for Jeep Wave or Jeep Wave Explained in Google, and it no longer does because I've got some competition. But I'll show you that shortly. YouTube search is most interesting to me because here I can see what keywords people are using to find the ad. So the top one is Jeep Wave, not naturally. 8,600 views from Jeep Wave. It makes up 40% of the YouTube searches. The Jeep Wave is next. Jeep Wave Explained is next. But I can go through this, and it's got 62 different keyword searches, and either add some of these to my existing video to try and boost it, or get ideas for additional videos to create. So here's one, Jeep Wave rules. So a lot of the comments actually talk about rules. So I could mine those comments and create another video called Jeep Wave rules and try and rank for that. How to Jeep Wave, Jeep Wrangler history. So there's some search there. I get ideas about additional videos to make. For the next one, audience retention. This is a great feature of YouTube. So if you do YouTube videos, definitely check out the audience retention feature of the analytics. It gives you an idea of where people's attention wanes and rises based on where they are at in the video itself. So as you play the video, and I'm just going to play it here, the graph shows where people's attention rises and falls. Now on this one, it falls. It is most watched at the beginning of the video and falls throughout the length of the video. And then there's another one called relative audience retention, which is the one that I really look at because it gives you a different graph of where throughout the video attention rises and falls most. And this is due to probably playbacks. So people may go back to a certain point in the video because that part was more interesting. So this is kind of an interestingness graph of your video. So everybody should take advantage of that if you're doing videos. You have to have a certain critical mass of number of views before you get access to it, but it's very cool. here's the search results in YouTube for my video. So I'm searching for Jeep Wave. If I scroll down, you can see official Jeep commercial. That's their Super Bowl commercial. That's an ad. And then Jeep Wave explained, me doing the Jeep Wave. So mine is like fifth down from the top, so the fifth ranking one. And then if I go into Google search results for Jeep Wave, it is included in the carousel of videos, YouTube videos, halfway down the page of search results for Google. And then in Bing, pretty much the same thing. Bing has some instant answers here. They've got people also ask. There's images. It's further down. The carousel of videos is further down on the page than in Google. But there's mine shows up as well there. If you look at Google Trends for Jeep Wave, I've created a Google Trends report from 2004 to present. You can see that from 2004 to about 2014, Jeep Wave searches remain relatively stable, but then in 2014 they start to take off more and more until they grow over time to present, and that is because Jeep started a loyalty program. Basically, Fiat Chrysler began a formal program called the Jeep Wave in 2014 for Jeep owners. So there's a lot that you can learn from the analytics, and I just wanted to show that. And there's our mini case study and me kind of throwing spaghetti against the wall and and trying things out.
Well done, Dave. That was interesting.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I believe that brings us to politics.
It does indeed.
And I've been laughing my head off over this one. Roger Stone, who is, as we know, going to, well, he appeared on Tuesday and pleaded not guilty for the Mueller appearance. And so what he did, he's always been known to be a bit of a fashion plate as well as a blowhard show-off. And so he made a video on how to dress for your Mueller court appearance. And so he it's a 2-minute and 40-second video, 3 minutes and 40 seconds, excuse me, and he tells us what he wore. And you know, he never wasted any time being in the spotlight. He was a former Daily Caller fashion columnist, and he starred in a video for that site. So he outlines his clothes for his court appearance right down to his Charvet boxers. And he specified that a single-breasted suit is far superior to a double-breasted suit for making the Richard Nixon-style victory gesture that he likes to make. He says double-breasted just doesn't ride up properly. And he said, I did not want to dress today in one of my double-breasted Savile Row English suits because it would be a little too wealthy looking. I'm dirt poor at this point, he said, having been destroyed financially by a 2-year inquisition by Robert Mueller and his partisan hit squad. And so the author of the article said, perhaps an auction of Stone's natty suits is coming soon, and this will serve as their infomercial.
So another thing happened in well, lots of things happened.
Did it ever?
Every week. But one in particular that has been discussed in this show, BL, Howard Schultz is running for president as an independent. The owner of a former CEO of Starbucks is running as an independent. So, BL, I just got to ask, are you going to vote for him?
I'm so pissed off. I mean, all he's going to be is a spoiler. I am such a fan of this man and of the way that he's handled his company. He came up from living in the projects. He's self-made. You know, they're making a big thing about him being a billionaire. But this is stupid. This is going to hand the election to the lunatic who's in power now. This is stupid. I don't understand it because he's a lifelong Democrat. It makes no sense at all. I have said many times, you know, I would work for him for nothing if he would run for president, not if he's going to run as a spoiler. I mean, this makes about as much sense as Bernie running again, you know?
It sounds like he just doesn't want to be taxed more. That's why he's running as an independent.
Why would he be taxed more?
Because that's where the Democrats are at. They want to tax rich people more.
Well, I don't think that's part of his platform, actually, and he's been so generous. He pays for the college education of people who work for him. He hires veterans. He does a lot of extraordinary things. this is just a stupid move. You know, I boycotted him. I had a ticket to go see him at Barnes and Noble the other night, and I just didn't want to go. I
I
was
thought
like,
that might have been you in the audience that heckled him. But
I didn't go. I didn't heckle him. It was too cold to go heckle him. I heckled him online all week long.
there you go. All right. So, pro tip. Another LinkedIn pro tip. Pro tip is for your LinkedIn summary. So you've got your name, your title, your company you work for, your location, everything. The next thing on your profile is your summary. The first thing you should do is use the first person, not the third person. That makes you sound really pretentious. So don't use third person. Use the first person. You get 2,000 characters for the summary, so make good use of them. But by default, LinkedIn only shows the first 3 lines or so of your summary before readers have to click to see more. That works out to about 290, 310 characters. But the recruiters on LinkedIn by default get to see the entire summary. You should know that. But most people don't. So write those 3 lines to persuade people to read more. Make those 3 lines work really well to persuade people to click on the read more to get deeper into your profile.
I see a lot of ones that are written in the third person, and I think, who are you talking to? Who are you trying to reach? That
Yeah.
and the pictures, as you talked about one time recently, the pictures where someone's clearly cut someone out of the picture, or they're out on the farm or whatever they're doing. I don't know. You want a professional headshot for your picture.
Yeah. All right, so on to daily numbers. Let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Fortnite. Beal, are you a Fortnite player?
I am not.
Okay, so for those of you who are, I am not either yet, but I will have to start playing. It's a video game. This is from an
I knew that.
This is from an Axios story by Mike Allen, Sarah Fisher, and Felix Solomon. And they quote Owen Williams, who publishes a popular blog called Charged. They quote him saying, "Fortnite isn't a game, it's a place. Not only is Fortnite the new hangout spot, replacing the mall, Starbucks, or just loitering in the city, it's become the coveted third place for millions of people around the world. So it is not just a video game, it is a social network." So Fortnite's user base, 200 million registered players in November of last year. That's up 60% from June of 2018. Fortnite, that's 200 million registered players. Fortnite said it reached 8.3 million concurrent players in November. So 8.3 million players playing at the same time. You can play with up to like 100 people, I think. That's up from 200 million or 2 million in January. Most players spend at least 6 to 10 hours playing the game per week. So 6 to 10 hours per week. That's an insane amount of time. Average revenue per person. This will blow you away. Fortnite's average revenue per person is nearly twice Google, Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat. $96. That compares to Google, $27, Facebook, $19, Twitter, $8, and Snapchat, $3.
So what are they spending the money on? Buying coins and things?
Buying stuff for the game, yeah, in-game purchases. But yeah, the game is free, but you buy a lot of stuff in game to make your experience there better. So yeah, it's basically you want to reach younger millennials and Generation V. Fortnite might be something you want to look into.
Wow, that's incredible. That
Yeah.
really is. So that brings us to the end of the show. Is that right?
Does indeed.
Okay, so we thank you for watching episode 257 of the Beyond Social Media Show, and we hope you'll subscribe to our newsletter because it's back every week after the show. You will get a compilation of what we talked about, as well as the video replay and the audio replay. So you will find links to everything we talked about today on BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/257. And we hope you'll leave us a review at BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/love and tell us what you love and what you hate. We want to hear both. And David Erickson here is my charming and articulate co-host. He is on Twitter as D Erickson. He is on Instagram as DE Erickson. He blogs at estrategyblog.com. I'm BL Uckman. I am on Twitter as @What's Next. I blog at what'snextblog.com and what'snextblog.com. What's Next blog on YouTube. My business site is bluckman.com. The show, BeyondSocialMediaShow.com. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter as BS Media Show. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and Amazon Home. Just say, play the Beyond Social Media Show, and there will be. And we will be back next week. We'll let you know when. And we thank you for watching and listening today.
Thanks for watching.